back live with you guys to talk about stress-induced hair loss part two. I have with me my friends and guests of the show. We have Mrs. Naya Brown, LPN. She's going to share from the medical field more information about stress-induced hair loss. And I also have Mrs. Dr. Leslie Johnson, who is going to give some take from a client's perspective as she has been affected with stress related hair loss as well. So, welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Happy to be
I'm
here.
so glad that you guys have taken the time to be with me today. Would you please introduce yourself to the group, Naya?
So, I'm Naya. I'm just Naya. But, everybody likes to put um, letters behind my name, but that's okay. So, I am a licensed practical nurse by trade. I have been a licensed practical nurse for almost 20 years now, but I do not practice in that capacity anymore. However, I did do bedside or direct patient nursing for 13 years. And then in other arenas where I worked, I also was there overseeing clinical capacities. And I have seen a lot of impact from stress on people's health in numerous ways.
Okay. Um, and Leslie, would you like to share with our audience some of the ways that you were impacted by stress-induced hair loss? What happened? What is your story, and what did you do about it? What has been your experience?
So I would say my loss started, thinning of the edges first started, and then I guess the middle part areas. That started maybe suddenly, maybe about 4 years ago, 4 years ago, and then it gradually started to progress to the stage that it's at now. But my edges are actually starting to come back in, and the middle part is still working on that, working with you, Angie. Do you want me to go and discuss that? The
Yeah, tell them what your experience has been like since you have started the process to recovering your hair.
Okay, so the process has been kind of frustrating because you see all these different like ads, commercials, this will help, that'll help, and that probably contributed to some of my hair loss as well. So I'm not going to say completely stressed, although it was a lot of things with family, just life, as we say, life be living, and it definitely was living. And it affected me because one thing I can say, just a little nugget to drop, let out what's going on, in some shape, form, whether it be prayer, whether it be a therapist, whether it be, a good girlfriend, your prayer partner, let it out because it it comes out and it shows through your body.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's one of the ways, fortunately, that I believe that contributed or attributed to my hair loss. But onto the journey of discovery of getting it back on track, Angie got her trichology license, and so I have used her services. Did I say it right? Because I mispronounce a word, right?
It's a
But
certification.
okay. So she started it. It was funny because she had this machine, and I wish I had a picture of the machine, but it reminded me of something of the Frankenstein with the little electrocuting things. And it was like a red light. And I'm like, okay, so I'm looking because I'm nosy. I'm like, okay, what is this? So she put it on my head and went. Then don't get me wrong, it wasn't a pain because I have tattoos, but it was a very, don't laugh, Naya. It was just interesting. But it actually, all jokes aside, it actually, was it actually worked. I don't know the correct term or what it was called, but I know it was like had a sensation. It had a sensation to kind of stimulate. And the thing that I did like also, because I'm nosy again, was the camera that you could actually get to see in your scalp, and you could see the inflammation. You could see where
Mhm.
it's growing. And I have been working with Angie, what is it, about 2, 3 months now? And when she first did it, I saw a lot of red. And of course, that meant inflammation. Over
Mhm.
time, using her product, I have been using her oil and using a shampoo that she recommended, doing that daily. The oil daily, the shampoo at least twice every other week or 2 weeks, washing my hair with the shampoo. And when she did it, the camera view again, we could see new growth. We could see
That
growth
is.
pods. We could see the inflammation going down. But also, again, going back to that, because like we said, but stress, part of it was stress, right? So I had to change the way I process things, what things I was accepting. One song I like, and I'm not going to sing because that's not my ministry, but um, don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me. The song by J.K. Carr, Not My Portion. And I had to
Mhm.
just stop picking up things that were not my portion.
Yes.
And when I did pick them up, to release them and give them to God.
Mhm.
Certain assignments, just being overwhelmed, picking because I'm a helper. When you're a helper, you have to learn boundaries. And if you are a
Yes.
helper and don't have boundaries, that's a deadly combination. But
Mhm.
over time, learn the boundaries, exercise and no therapy. I'm working on a weight loss thing. Lord help me with that. But anyway, because I don't like to exercise, never have. But so it was just a making a conscious effort and being intentional, going to the right specialist, Angie, getting that those the right treatments, making sure not only that, following up with the mental side of it,
Mhm.
getting myself together. And it's kind of, and I look back at old pictures and it sometimes affects me. And my daughter be like, well, why are you making that face? And I'm like, if you don't leave me alone, because I'm having myself a moment.
Mhm.
Because I used to have very pretty, very nice, my hair is still nice, but it's just not enough of it, to do what I want to do. But
Come on, Leslie.
it is nice. It's cute. You want to see? It's nice. It's just cute. It's got a little hang time. Me and my husband got a competition thing. Mine's his blown out. I think he might have got a little bit more inches than me, but that's fine. That's okay because it's gonna eventually. And my daughter, her hair is all the way out here, so I don't even try. She say, "Oh, I see your hair's growing a little." I said, "You know what? God bless her. You just you just gotta remember this is a child, just a child." But yeah, it is going, and I don't mind showing it because hold
Oh
on one second, let me
gosh.
take my because people have to not be. I know it's a hard process, and you really maybe
Mhm.
can't see, but my edges thin, and if I had before pictures, but it's coming back in and right here. But again, stress is, and I have my hat on because I don't have my good wig right now, but and that's another thing. I had to learn how to put on wigs.
Oh
That
gosh.
I'm gonna say this. Anybody who wears a wig, I give y'all kudos because
Yes.
yeah, I've tried. I've got the good, and I got good lace stuff and all that. Angie, I got wigs, and I be trying. I said, you know what? That's okay. So what we're doing now with my hair is doing crochet, which is crochet has changed from that long little string
Yes.
thing. Now you can curls. If it
Mhm.
when it's done right, it looks very good in my hair
Yeah.
normally for the most part looks good. So my daughter keep looking at my hair, said, "When you getting your hair done?" I said Saturday. Saturday. So, but that's been my journey. You have to be, and so I say all this to say you have to. Life happens, right? And this is
Yep.
what happened, and I have to. I could be one. I could have 1, 2 ways to handle it. I could be upset, downwritten, whatever. But guess what? Long as I can afford hair, and hair is affordable now. I mean, good hair. Amazon. I'm serious. I'm not putting a plug down. So maybe they'll be a supporter, but yeah, they have some good hair.
Oh
So
gosh.
don't get discouraged. Don't get upset. It's a harsh reality to face at times, but
Mhm.
just do what you need to do. Pray or give it to God, and he'll work it out. Ask him for the right people, the right doctors, because it can be overwhelming. Because I'm thinking that you just go to trichologists, but then you have
Mhm.
the dermatologists who
Mhm.
specialize in it and they do all that stuff. I'm like, well, I thought this was the trichology people, but you know what? Nonetheless, Angie's helping me through it. And so pretty soon I might have that and be going like this. So, because when I get it, I'm gonna do it. Trust me, I'm be like that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's been a good journey. So, I'm grateful
Well,
for
I'm
Angie for helping me
well,
through it.
I am so glad to hear that. I am grateful to have the opportunity to be of service. So yeah, that was your journey, and everybody, like I tell everyone, that your journey is different, and so therefore we have to custom make a package specifically for the client, because every client doesn't need the same thing. So the services that you need may not necessarily be what another client need. And that is the reason for the consultation, so that we can have a discovery talk where we're figuring out, what is really going on versus what your needs are, and how we give you a roadmap as to how to get there. So that was good. So additionally, Leslie, you were talking about the wigs. We forgot to discuss that, you had two of them. Like, I was able to
Yeah.
actually create two wigs for you out of some of the
Yes.
Amazon hair that you ordered. So we
Yes.
custom styled wigs for Leslie, and though they're beautiful, some people are just not wig wearers, and that's
Mhm.
okay too. But there are always different options available for everybody. Hence, why it's important to have that consultation to talk about what's best for you, what
Mhm.
products are best for you. Because, like you were doing, Leslie, you were buying products on top of products, not
Mhm.
understanding that sometimes the ingredient in some of these products can cause an adverse reaction in the body. And so sometimes you can get the opposite of what you expect.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask Naya some questions as it relates to stress in the body. Could you tell us, Naya, what are some things that's going on in the body that creates this chaotic environment inside the body, if you will, that affects hair growth? What's going on in the body when that's happening?
Well, it's almost like your body it releases extra hormones when you're stressed. And those hormones have uh, a bad effect, bad impact on your body. Um, be it your heart, your blood pressure. Some people get very bad uh, GI symptoms when they're stressed.
Mhm.
Um, like some people can't sleep. Stress weighs your immune system down. So people that are stressed or have always have high stress levels, maybe from a job, um, are often ill frequently. They might have always have a cold, often have a lot of headaches. It's almost like your body is always tense. So if you think about just walking around like that all the time, well, whatever is going on down here is also going on up here. Just
Hmm.
think about when you have a stress headache. When you're stressed out, you have a headache. Well, what do you think that's doing on the cellular level for your body in the whole? Because stress doesn't just impact the blood pressure or the heart. It starts on the cellular level, and there's cells all over your body.
Hmm.
So if you're having vasoconstriction, which is what happens when your blood pressure is elevated, there's a lot of things that cause your veins to shrink, but stress is a has high impact with that. So if it's causing your vasoconstriction, well, it's also happening in your head. So blood flow is one of the things that you need to produce good hair growth, right?
Mhm.
And if it's restricted because of stress, well, you're going to get the opposite effect. Your hair will start falling out, and I've experienced that too. Then just seeing it from patient perspectives, I've had patients that have had hair loss, men and women, hair loss, um, very young patients that have stroked out from high stress
Hmm.
levels, and like really way too young for that. Who've had heart attacks.
Mhm.
Your body. I know for me personally, when I'm stressed, I stress eat. I'm the opposite of a lot of people. Some people don't eat. Some people always stomach upset. Um, I've learned to kind of sleep for the most part because I have learned that, to give it to God. But I manifest stress in other ways. I
Mm-hmm.
eat. I also I'll always have a headache. I remember when I was in nursing school, which was extremely stressful. Um, and I went thought it was a good idea to go to nursing school when I had a 3 year old and a 6 month old. And I remember getting a horrid tension in the back of my neck, on my shoulder, that I could not shake. For it was horrible. Like it brought me to tears, but it was stress. And I wanted to do this illustration, but I forgot to get the stuff. So if you think about it, let's say your where's my camera? So your vein should be open like this, that big. Well, when you're stressed, your blood pressure increases. And so that means your heart has to work harder to pump the blood. So it brings your, which should be blood vessel this size, down to barely can push blood through. So then
Wow.
everything in your body is working harder. The rest of your organs are working harder to either push out that blood or get some of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the heart is working harder to push it out, guess what? The liver is working harder to get it. It's not flowing how it should be naturally flowing. So there's almost a starvation period because it's taking longer for the blood to get to your vital organs to keep everything going. And over time, just like with your hair, your body starts to adapt,
Mm-hmm.
not in a good way. If you don't handle the stress, and a couple of main ways is already mentioned, like Leslie said, their prayer, therapy, um, changing your situation, setting up boundaries, getting stepping away from the situation if possible. Going to the gym. I used to go to the gym all the time, and that was like a stress reliever for me. Um, you have to long rides, a couple of days, whatever that looks like. Quiet, um, whatever that looks like. And you have to do it because if not, your body is going to learn to adapt to the stress. Your body is going to learn to adapt to the headache that you're walking around with. That's an indication that your blood pressure is through the roof. And your body is you're gonna adapt. I would say as women, we're just like, oh, my hair breaking off. Oh, and we kind of brush it off, not realizing that not only is your hair breaking off, it's falling out, and then we just put a wig on, because oh well, I ain't got time to deal with that, or I don't know why I don't know why my hair falling out. It'll grow back, or whatever our thing is. That's what we do, and instead of changing the situation, which will change the impact on our body from the stress. And I understand that all situations aren't always that easy, so I'm not saying that, but you got to take some valuable steps to save your health.
Mhm.
And sometimes it is going to the doctor and letting them put you on blood pressure medicine. Because if you can't change your situation in the very soon reality, then you need some help managing your situation until you can change it. So,
Mhm.
an example of something you can't change: if you are a single mother and you are trying to take care of kids by yourself, well, the likelihood of that changing, like within the next 2 weeks, probably isn't going to happen. So, you got to do something different to manage that. Going to the doctor, getting on, if you have a good doctor that, like I do, thank God, and the doctor that I worked for that treated several people. Sometimes you need blood pressure medicine just to get you by. Sometimes you need a antidepressant or anti-anxiety man just to get you by. There's nothing wrong with that. God created medicine, so why do we shy away from it and the act like you don't have no problems, or like you're not own and cling to it because you go to the doctor and get on medication for it. You're just managing your problem
Hmm.
until
At least
you
until
get,
you get a holistic lifestyle.
yes,
Because sometimes that
yes,
takes time because we have a hard time creating that balance because life is happening
yes,
so fast. And if we can be honest, God didn't create us to be at fast speeds like that. And so
yep,
life happens faster than our DNA was created to survive in. So
yeah,
we find ourselves running to catch up so that we can at least maintain and balance things. So we forget sometimes to do the holistic things that's going to
yep,
keep us, at healthy levels. So
yep,
yeah, sometimes the medical practitioners, the doctors, those things are needed sometimes just to get us started. That's not to say
yep.
that we depend
Nope,
on that all our lives. We can
nope,
still do our part
yep,
so that we can, create balance that, at some point the doctor may be like, oh, you're doing okay. You don't need this medicine
yes,
anymore. But
Yeah.
exactly,
initially, if that's what you need, go ahead and do that
yes,
because your body goes into 911 mode
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Then
and
you're gonna
it
have a different
starts
problem.
to yeah, and that's how other diseases and stuff start to manifest in the body. And it's a
Yep,
wonder that you have hair loss because, like I said, at the 6 o'clock hour, what happens is because your hair is non-essential, your body doesn't care about the hair. It
yep,
cares about the liver, the pancreas, the heart,
yep,
those
Mm-hmm.
yep.
life
The
sustaining
kidneys.
organs. So the
Yep,
blood that valve you were talking about that's now small and shrinked,
mm-hmm,
it's like, okay, pull from the hair. We need all the blood we can get to feed
yep,
these organs so that we can keep this person's body alive because it's trying to
yep,
keep us alive. So that is why we see hair loss at such a great rate because our body is going into 911 mode to keep us alive.
yep,
Yeah, yeah, that's
yep,
that. I wanted to touch on the medicine portion. When I doing my stressing days, actually, I was put on three at the same time, and yes, it did help. Yes, therapy did help, but it also, as you were saying, Nye, sometimes some people don't want to, don't think, because I was like that for years. And my girlfriend was like, no, you need you need to be, you might want to try medicine. So I did it because my thing is I didn't want to be, the stereotypes, zombie fied or whatever have
mm-hmm,
you or not. But it worked when you have, again, the right psychiatrist that prescribed the medicine to help.
yep,
It did. But I also, after a while, made a conscious decision to say, you know what, me and God, we're gonna, work this out. So
yep,
you have to have that again, that mindset to want to be an overcomer,
yep,
Hmm.
and not to have a dependency, because I could still be in it, but again, I ask, what are those things that, when I feel overwhelmed or feel a certain kind of
Hmm.
way, learning to plug in. And it's so important to have we say, it takes a village to raise a
yep,
child. It takes a
Hmm.
village in general. Have the
Yeah.
right people, that you can call, that will pour into you when you're,
yep,
feeling depleted or off or whatever. It's so important. And I'm learning that as I, get up there in the years, that it's important who you have around you. It's very important. It's
yep,
very important, especially
Hmm.
to help you to walk you through those times where you might not be feeling so hot or feeling so
yep,
good, and to
yep.
speak life into you. So that's important.
Yes, for sure.
That was a
So,
great takeaway. Hmm. Go ahead, Naya.
I would just it all matters. In dealing with hair loss is subtle. I think in most cases. I know my situation. And now I think about it. Probably back then when I was in school stressing, I probably was losing hair, but didn't even put two and two together. But I mean, I recently have went through it, and I didn't even notice it initially, and it was like I tried to style my hair in a certain way, and I was like, "Is that a bald spot? Like, what in the world?" It sneaks up on you. And
Hmm.
I immediately went into panic mode and called Angie. It was like my hair falling out. I did a scalp analysis, and she was like, "Naya, what's going on? You don't need a scalp analysis." And she hit the nail on the head. Like the knowledge that she has. I said, "Oh." I said, you on the money. And then again, working with a professional, working with Angie, working with my loctician. She isn't a cosmetologist, so she know certain things about natural hair, but she's not a licensed cosmetologist. So she is like, well, I could do X, Y, and Z. I offer these services, but check with your friend who's the trichologist and getting Angie's input. And she always checks. And that's the thing that I appreciate. She's like, so she says you could get this, right? And then she's putting her little other holistic tactics on top of that to simulate my hair returning, and which it is, but also got rid of the stress to
Hmm.
a great level, a great level, not completely. There was a lot of factors. One factor is completely gone, but others are minimized, so it makes a difference. Don't let nobody shame you. And if you have a really good provider that is intentional and cares about what is important to you, is patient focused, not pharmaceutical focused, they are going to listen to you in what you want, what your goal is with taking this medicine or on this health journey. How do you want to deal with the stress? Because they have recommendations, but what is your ultimate goal? What is your plan for reducing your stress or removing this stressful situation? So that should always be the goal. Use what you need to use when you need to use it. That
Yep,
you will
and have a
be
goal and
healthy.
have an
Have a
end
goal.
goal.
Yep.
And sit and consistency is key as well. One of the things that I want to hit on before we go is the importance of knowing your numbers. And so I experienced hair loss because my vitamin D levels were depleted. And I
Yep.
had no
Yep.
idea. I just looked in the mirror. Now, keeping in mind, I am very big on hair care, right? Especially my own, even while short. I'm big on, healthy hair. And I just happened to look in the mirror one day and I had like a bald spot. And I was like, is this alopecia? This is before I went to this is before I studied trichology. So at this time I was just doing cosmetology and I was like, is this alopecia? And so one of the salon owner, I was working in her salon at the time. I had her look at it. She was like, that is not alopecia. She was like, no. She looked at it. She was like, no, it's not alopecia. You should probably though see your doctor. Well, come to find out, I was vitamin D deficient. Had no idea that a loss or lack of vitamin D in your body could trigger hair loss. So knowing
Mhm.
your numbers is key. Sometimes when we get our blood work with the doctor, and then the doctors look at it and they say, "Oh, okay, everything looks good." So from their view, they're looking at what's looking good for your organs, the vitality of your organs and the functioning of your
Yep.
organs and your body as a whole. They're not looking at the numbers that is necessary for hair loss.
Yep.
So that is one of the things I learned to study in trichology is that those numbers range on a scale, and
Yep.
per whatever it is that you are looking at is the determining factor as to whether or not you are deficient in a thing or not. So your doctors are making sure you're not deficient so your vital organs can sustain, but
Yep.
a trichologists are looking at the numbers to see what is low, what is deficient that is creating this issue with your hair.
Mhm.
that is
Mhm.
that is one of the main reasons why it is important to you have a team of professionals. Don't just have the one,
Absolutely.
have a team, because even after the trichologist, you want a hair cosmetologist who is going to um, make sure your hair is healthy, not just looking good. Anybody can create
Mhm.
a cute look, but can we keep that hair on your head? Because I see
Yep.
a whole lot of cute looks on the internet with all this fake me out and you don't have any edges,
Mhm.
or you're starting to develop CCCA where you're having
Mhm.
some thinning in your parts because of different issues and things going on. So look like we done lost Naya,
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
but that's okay.
That's
That's
okay.
okay.
That's okay.
Tech happens, things happens, and we're gonna keep it moving because we got some good information tonight. I hope that this information was inspiring and that you got some good nuggets out of it. from our licensed nurse practitioner, and from Leslie, and from myself. And if you have any questions, or if there's any concerns that you may have or want more information about, you can send me an email at bfabbroadcast@gmail.com. You can also follow me on YouTube at Beauty for Ashes Broadcast. Follow me on all my social media platforms at Beauty by Angela J. Please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us today. Until next week, you guys have a wonderful day. Be safe out there, and we look forward to hanging out with you next week. Bye.
Bye bye.